Hello, all my friends online, rocking it at home. We have a lot of my typing and PC skills friends. We also have some of our tech class friends. So we're going to be crossing the streams here. Really, really cool. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'd like to build on what we had done in our last lesson. But first things first, let's get those digits warmed up. So we're going to do a typing warm up. So what I would like you to do, let's go ahead and open up Microsoft Word or Google Docs, whichever one works for you, and go ahead and type the alphabet. You guys know how the song goes: A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, banana. Something like that. Anyways, you probably know better than me. Go ahead and type the alphabet. And it is tricky because looking at the keyboard, they don't have them in the same order as you know the song. So type it in the order that you know, and that's a good way to get us started. I'm going to pause. I'm going to allow you to pause the video. I'm going to count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and hit pause if you need, and we'll get restarted here in a second. All right, moving on, friends, continuing our warm-up. In Microsoft Word or Google Docs, hit enter, move yourself down to another line, and we are going to do the alphabet sentence. I would like you to type the sentence we have here. The quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog. That is a rather silly sounding sentence, which I dig because who doesn't love silly? However, for those of you that are joining us for the first time, this sentence, in a really tricky way, contains every letter of the alphabet. If you type this sentence, you have typed all 26 letters at least once. Pretty darn cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and allow you to pause the video. I'm going to count down from 5 before moving on to the next slide. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hope you paused it. So moving on. Welcome back, my warm-up typer, texter, crazy friends. Next, I'd like you to type what we have here. I lent my friend $45 and he's never paid me back. Crazy, right? As you're typing this, again, it may seem rather odd the way that we've generally presented this. However, this is a great exercise and this is a wonderful warm-up because you have to use different punctuation and different symbols. You have to make use of the shift key. For my friends that have not done that before, no worries, take your time. We are not in a rush. You're going to go ahead and pause this video. Take all the time you need. Quite the luxury. So again, as we look at this, we're learning how to communicate in, I think, a more broad way. As you are mastering the symbols and the different punctuation, you're able to get across different and more elaborate and complex ideas. And that's really, really what we're trying to do. I try to come up with a term and use grammatical dexterity. Kind of exciting. So I'm going to pause I'm going to allow you to pause the video, counting down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, if you didn't pause it, forever hold your peace. Moving forward, we're familiar with this thing. It is not a banana. It is a computer. And my technological friends know that it is a unique piece of technology because it is designed specifically to work with data. All of you, I know, are familiar with the term data because in any of my classes, we pretty much club you over the head with it as much as we can. Data, for those of my friends who were not paying attention before or are new to the class, welcome. Data is a fancy word for information. Looking at this, then we have my two favorite old-fashioned stick people. Stick person 1 says, "My name is Jim." Stick person 2 says, "My name is Susan." Jim and Susan have now exchanged data. What data or information have they given to each other? Ding, 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 waiting. You can shout it out to mom and dad and surprise them, or just yell it out to the empty room. Jim and Susan have exchanged their names. That is the data. We want to have a good understanding. Your world is surrounded by data, especially network data. The better understanding that you have that data is information, but also that it is mobile and portable, the more control you'll have over your actual world. So I want to talk a little more about data before we dive into the rest of our stuff. So we will discuss giving a machine data, in this case, a microwave oven. If you have some Hot Pockets, you throw them into the microwave oven. The microwave oven is an astounding piece of technology. It is the culmination, arguably, of a couple thousand years of human engineering endeavors and just a crowning achievement. However, for all that said, it's rather dumb. It cannot think. It has no idea that it really wants to do anything because it doesn't, it's just a simple machine. You have to provide data to it. What data, what information must you provide to a microwave oven in order to get it to function? And my friends that have seen this before, we know that it is the amount of time, because it doesn't know, one, that you put in hot pockets, but also it doesn't know how you like your hot pockets, and you have to put in that amount of time. So fancy. So let's kind of put that into practice and do the data. So looking at this, and what data would you give to the microwave oven other than the amount of time? You may not know this, but you can actually adjust the amount of power or the amount of wattage. So really how hot stuff gets after a certain period of time, you can adjust that as well. Or just the best answer, what data would you give to a microwave oven? The amount of time. What data would you give to a watch? Kind of interesting. When you get a watch, it's fresh out of the box. Odds are it has not been set. You need to let the watch know what time it is currently. Otherwise, it's pretty useless. You need to give the watch data. You need to inform the watch, really putting through what the current time is so that it can be of use to you. What data would you give to an ATM? Or in this case, mom and dad would give to an ATM. You would usually need to provide I'm going to give you guys a couple seconds to shout it out. Speak now or forever hold your peace. You would need to give the ATM a couple of things. One, your PIN number, the personal identification number that allows you to access your account and your card so no one else is stealing your things. Then you need to let it know how much money you would like to take out because, again, it cannot read your mind. So you must provide some form of data to the ATM. What data would you give to a vending machine? Coming up to it, the vending machine, that's got all sorts of delicious, wonderful, savory, and also then confectionery delights. But the machine, as sophisticated as it is, cannot read your mind. It does not know that you might want Funyuns instead of M&Ms. So you must then enter in the numbers on the numbers and letters, usually on the keypad, to inform the machine what delight you want to consume. So kind of neat. What data then would you give to this person? When you walk into McDonald's, they cannot read your mind. They do a pretty good job of guessing what you might like. Their menu is designed for that. But they don't know that you want a double quarter pounder with cheese instead of a fillet of fish, and that you want it large with a orange Fanta drink instead of the Diet Dr. Pepper. So you must tell them what it is that you want. You provide them data. Moving on here, you have this doctor man. What data would you give to the doctor? Well, when you go in and something is maybe wrong, the doctor has no idea. You need to give the doctor your symptoms. You hurt your pinky nail and you want that addressed. Maybe you've got an overly itchy eyebrow, and that's something that you would like the doctor to take a look at. Well, that's very important. The doctor won't know that until you give the doctor and the people that work in the office your data, that important information. Here we are as well. If you have a mechanic, what would you give to the automobile mechanic? Well, the same sort of stuff as the doctor bringing your car in. Just looking at the car, they usually can't tell what's wrong. So you might want service done. There might be a bad noise when you start it, when you apply the brakes. You provide that information, and then they get about doing what you need done. How about this adorable chubby baby? You would tell this puppy that he or she is simply an adorable chubby baby. Like we had said last time, they're not really going to listen as long as you're just giving them belly rubs, but that is the data that you would tell because there is no other acceptable information for this adorable creature. So, moving forward, now that we've done warm-ups for our fingers and we've warmed up our brains talking about data, let's get into some more of our practical skills. Reviewing what we had done last week. This first couple of words are not highlighted. This is now highlighted. Let's review this monstrously important skill. Okay, my terrifyingly terrific typists. We're going to talk about a really important and useful skill / tool that we use everywhere on a computer, not just when we're typing in a Word document, but really anywhere where we have text or if we want to select something. And that is highlighting. To highlight es muy importante. Let's think about how the computer works. The computer doesn't read your mind. So the computer has no idea what you want to work with. I want to change one of these words. The computer doesn't know which one. And if I just hover my mouse over it, the computer doesn't know and doesn't care. It can't figure that out. So I need to help the computer. I need to let the computer know exactly which of these words I want to work with. And the way we do that is highlighting. The way that we will highlight, I'm going to do this word highlight here. So what I will do is I place my little cursor guy here at one side of the word, and then I'm going to hold down the left button. And then, holding on the left button, I'm going to move it this way, and it has now been selected. Really handy, we have this little mini window come up because the computer says, aha, I know that my super awesome user wants to do something with this, so I'm going to pop up all of these gorgeous options. These are defaults. You can do other things and find them out, but this is super handy here. So this little guy, make it larger and smaller. You can do that here as well. Change what it looks like. These are fonts. Remember that word. We're going to talk about it in just a moment. We can bold, italicize, underline, change the color, do a lot of neat things. And we're only able to do that because the computer knows that we selected that word by highlighting. So we will do that exact thing now. What I want you to do, we will have our Word document open, and you're going to type the word highlight, and then you will work on highlighting that word. Very exciting. So go ahead and do it, my terrifyingly terrific typists. Super cool. So here we have, and as instructed, type the word highlight and then highlight it. Then what I'd like you to do is make the font whatever you want it to be. Looking at font, font is our word for typeface, how the letters appear, and then also make it larger and smaller. Let's have that. I'm going to count down from 5 to allow you to pause this video as needed to give you as much time as you want. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and moving on. So as we said, we're talking about fonts next. So we see that fonts are for our friends that are just joining us this week, but also then for our friends from our last lesson. This is a nice review. Fonts are another word for typeface. So look, F-O-N-T, 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 F-O-N-T. These are all the same word. They are all the same letters, but they're also different. They're different in how they appear. That is a different font. Different font. And it's really an effective thing for us to have and use because when we type something, we want someone to read it. We're trying to put forth our own ideas. And if we can make something more eye-catching for them, if we give them some reason to want to read it, then we're able to accomplish what our original goal is getting our ideas to their eyeballs, really, into their brain then as well. And it's always going to make these things wiggle. So what I'd like you to do, type your name 10 times and then change the font and also then change the size. I'm going to give you guys countdown from 5 to go ahead and pause the video to give you all the time you need to accomplish this wonderfully delightful task. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we're moving on. Here, as we've seen before, are a number of different apps, programs from Microsoft. We've worked with Word, we see that guy there, and some of you friends have worked with PowerPoint with us in the past, and they're familiar with some of these as well. The one we're going to work on today, again, is this guy here in the middle, the X. This is the symbol for Microsoft's program called Excel. As a review from last week, friends, well, first, let me get this out of the way. This is partially a horrible symbol because Excel starts with the letter E. even though it sounds like X. I can see why they did that, but that's really not teaching you guys good lessons. So I would be irresponsible and remiss if I did not actually point that out for you. So moving on from there, let's talk about very quickly and review the main components of Excel as a spreadsheet program. The first thing for us to focus on in Excel is understanding what the basic components are. The first one is the word cell. It's not really coincidence they named it Excel because they were trying to be clever. So a cell is, well, I think what you'd imagine it. Think of like a prison cell. It's a place where you are trapped. You can put a lot of things in, not necessarily evil, bad people, but in this case, information. So every one of these little boxes is a cell, and they are each self-contained. So I'm going to go to my first cell here, and watch what happens when I type my name. Okay. Now it looks like my name went over this first cell and went over into that one. Here's something fun to watch. Watch what happens when I click on the cell that's next to the first one, and I'm going to type my name again. Check out what happened. My last name looks like it disappeared from the first one. It actually didn't, because it has the information trapped. I'm going to click. Watch, I click on this first cell. You see my whole name, Raymond Marker. Click on the second cell. Watch what happens when I click on this third cell. I'm just going to hold down the letter R. Actually, let's change it up. I'm going to hold down the letter T. T off the screen. It looks like, oh my gosh, I erased my last name, but I actually didn't. I'm going to click on this cell. There's my name. Watch what happens when I click on this fourth cell. I'm going to change the letter. This time, let's go with the letter F. And look like I'm erasing all those T's, but I'm actually not. All those T's are still right there. See how we have them listed up here? That's our information. And then I'm going to click over here, and then I'll click on my name. So every one of these rectangular boxes is its each own individual cell. And it's a good way to think of it as its each own individual box. Anything you type in all that gibberish is trapped in that box and cell. I can go to this next guy, and I have a new box. Kind of neat. This is an important way to understand. Every one of these cells is its own container. It is its own box. Pretty cool. So my friends, what I would like you to do right now is, with your open Excel file, I would like for you to type your full name in one box, and then the next box over, type your full name again, and then this last box, type your full name one more time. Let's see what that actually then looks like. I'm going to count down from 5, and that'll give you a chance to dive for the Roku remote, to hit pause, to give yourself all the time you need. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and moving on. So our next main component are these gorgeous columns, but, well, not these columns. Columns in general, though. The second major component of Excel are the columns. So we know that a cell is one of these boxes. Well, we have collections of these boxes, and this is how they're organized. We're going to talk about specifically columns. A column, as you see in the picture to the right on this screen, is something that goes up and down. Columns go up and down. And in this case, the columns are lettered. So right now, I am in column D. Now I'm in column B. They go all the way, not only to Z, but they go pretty much as far as you can possibly imagine. Once they get past the 26th letter, they sort of double up. We can talk about that fun stuff later. So an important thing to know is when our cells are stacked on top of each other, they are known as columns. So what I will want you to do is type your name on top of each other. So I will type my name, Raymond, if I can type my name correctly. So my first middle, and last name. Type them in a single column, just like that. All right, party people, I will count down from 5 before moving on to our next slide to give you all the time you need. And if there's any of these parts that you, for the interest of time, need to skip over, that's totally fine too. I'd like you to get through to the main part of the exercise coming after the next several slides. But moving on, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and moving on. Next basic component. The last main component we're going to talk about today for Excel are the rows. We already did the columns. You know the columns go up and down. The rows, however, go side to side. The rows are across. Rows go across, and the rows are numbered. This is an important thing to understand. So we have row 1, 2, we have rows all the way through 15. That is how you can describe where some information is. So I'm going to write my name. My first name is in row 4. My middle name is in row 9. And my last name is in row 14. Row 4, row 9, row 14. I'm going to want you to do the same thing. Typing your name, first name, row 4, middle name, row 9, last name, row 14. Doesn't matter which column. Let's go ahead and have at it. Very exciting. I'm going to count down from 5, so you guys can pause it if you want. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. If you have not yet paused, forever hold your peace. The first thing we want to think about with Excel is really probably always going to be numbers and how we can manipulate them, different formulas, how we can add them, do lots of neat stuff with math. So talking about math, let's talk about sums and how Excel is a wonderful tool. We had seen before in our example of adding up the widgets that each machine made. Let's talk about that a little more. So we know our basic math. If 1 plus 1 equals bananas, no, kidding, they equal 2. All right, so 2 is the sum. The number 2 is the sum of 1 plus 1. If we're adding up a couple of numbers, it's not that bad. We can do that in our head. But what if we have dozens of numbers, hundreds, even thousands, tens of thousands of them? Easy to lose track and easy to make a mistake. There are several ways for us to do this in Excel. We're going to talk about the simplest way and then give you a crack at it. So let's say I want to add the number 67 and then, let me see, 89 and then 107 and then 1000. Actually, let's make that 1005. And then how about 200,673? So those are some numbers. If we just added 2 of those, we could probably do it in our head or on a pen and paper, but it's easy to make a mistake. Excel has a wonderful tool that's going to highlight, pun intended, one of our newest skills we talked about earlier in this class, and that is highlighting. If I put my little cursor mouse here and I left click and I drag down, so I've highlighted all of these, well, now we have something that's pretty cool. Look right here and we have the sum. Pretty neat. 67 plus 89 plus 107 plus 1005 plus 200,673 equals 201,941. If you're not entirely sure that you trust me, and don't blame you for that at all, let's do a couple easy ones here. So what is 55 plus 45? My friends, you do that in our head. For those of you who have not, that equals 100. You can double check me. But watch, I'm going to highlight that. And then this one, look at what my sum is. And it doesn't have to be up and down. We can do it side to side. So let's have 36 plus 64. Going to highlight those. What do we get? 100. Let's go ahead and start doing basic sums in Excel. Have at it. Okay, before we move on to our next slide, however, I'm going to count down from 5 again. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hopefully you're ready to go and moving on. So one of the new skills for today. We're going to turn numbers into cold, hard cash. Sounds exciting, maybe illegal. Let's go with exciting and not at all illegal, actually. So let's give it a try. All right, as we continue to be excellent in Excel. That is an awful pun, and I make no apologies. We're going to do a trick right now. I'm going to make you turn numbers into money. Very exciting. So let's go. I'm going to go to column F. Remember, columns go up and down. Rows go side to side. So I'm going to go to column F. You don't have to, but you will if you're awesome. Column F, I'm going to write a number 100 and then 456, 692, 701, and 808. All right, right now, those are simple, boring, sad numbers. Now, however, if I highlight them, you remember that from our previous lesson, highlighting is super awesome. I can change this, how it's shown. If we go up here to our home ribbon, there's a couple ways to do it. This is the easy way. Home ribbon, go over here, we see a dollar sign. Actually, do a little drop down, we see lots of other denominations. Let's go with a dollar and click. Bam! Check it out. All of those have now become dollars. $100, $456. We have made numbers into cold, hard cash. I want you to do the same. All right. So let's go ahead and type in random numbers however you like, and then do what we had done. Find in the upper ribbon and find the dollar symbol. Click on that and turn those numbers into cash. If you need to rewind the video, go ahead and do that. I'm going to count down from 5 before moving on to our next slide. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Moving forward, if we can. There we are. So, how do we see stuff? Let's check it out. Next up, looking at Excel. We understand Excel is really, at its core, a means of organizing data, organizing information, presenting it in a way so that our brains can comprehend it and keep track of things. So, with that in mind, let's make a chart. Doesn't sound super exciting, but we can make it super exciting, maybe. First thing I'm going to do, I want to zoom in a little bit. So notice my cells. I'm going to bump up their size just so that we're presenting a little better. And let's say I want to keep track of the temperature during the days of the week. So I want to track the days. In this cell, I'm going to type days. And in this cell, I will type temperature. Notice, kind of fun here, my word is longer than the cell. My column is too narrow. Here's a fun trick, guys. We can manipulate the sizes of our columns to suit our need. Notice this is sort of a little down arrow. If I go over here on the edge, notice how my cursor changes. I can click and then drag. Now column D is as wide as I want it to be. We're going to see that as I come in here. I'm going to type in my days. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, row. Thursday, we're keeping track of this, and Friday. Wednesday is a little too long. Let's make C a little wider. And I'm going to want you guys to do this as well here in a moment. Let's make up some temperatures. Let's say on Monday, it was 89 degrees. And then on Tuesday, let's go for 96. Wednesday, scorcher, 106. Thursday, we got a break, 88. And then Friday, we got a cold front coming in, it's 75. So here is some information. Monday, 89 degrees. Tuesday, 96 degrees. This is a basic and solid way to present information, but we're going to make it better. I want to show you one of the ways that this is actually not great and that it doesn't look very wonderful. First, I will want you to highlight, kind of exciting, and then we're going to go over to our print preview. So watch what I do. I'm going to go to File. We can do this together. And I'm going to go to Print. Now, we're not actually going to print it, but if we see right here, I'll need to move this over because Mr. Ray's screen is not as awesome as we would want it to be. So look right here. We see that that's really not very exciting. There's no lines. It doesn't really look like much of anything. Well, we can make that better because it's kind of weird, actually. Look at this here. Under days, Monday and Tuesday, what is missing from here as opposed to here? look at these lines for the cells. They don't show up when we actually try to print it. They don't show up when we try to print it. The reason is we have not told Excel that we want lines to appear. These lines have a name. They are called borders. I'm going to go right up here on our home ribbon, and we see this little icon here. Click on that guy, and we see lots of different types of borders. I'm going to go one for all borders, and bam! All of a sudden, we see these black lines. Go ahead and do those black lines. So give me this chart, days, temperature, blah, 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 blah. You can make your own temperatures. You can make it super hot, super cold. I don't actually care. But I do want you, however, to highlight it and then give us borders. Rock and roll. Have at it. And I'm not going to count down for this one because I want to actually go through this a little bit. So let's do this together. So here we have this graph. Let's go ahead and take some time, type what we have here, because we're going to use this for the next few slides. So I have this here. You got days, temperature, type the days of the week, type the numbers, take your time for that. Let's go ahead and pause this video. I'm going to go ahead and count down from 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and pause. Unpause when you're ready. And we'll assume that you are back after pausing. Now, what I want you to do is look where we have right here. This will control our borders. Go ahead and click this down arrow, and then yours will look just like this. So once you click that down arrow, and reminder, look where I have temperature here. This has been highlighted. You must highlight these things first. Click where it says all borders. And I think you're going to be pretty excited with how it begins to change the depiction of your data. I'm going to count down from 5, give you guys all the time you need. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, moving on to fonts and fills. Our efforts to make information interesting continue. Boy, is that a tough job, making information interesting. But we are getting better at it as we go. So we have our information nice and organized. We have our days, we have the temperatures, but it could be better. We have our borders, like it, but that's not quite enough. First, I think these guys should be a bit more prominent. Let's make them larger. So up here, we're able to play with our fonts. Bet you thought that fonts only existed and were able to play with in Word. Well, you would have been wrong, but not you guys. You're super smart. You didn't want to think that. Looking right here, I'm going to make these a little bit bigger. If I hit the A, make it a little larger like this, notice we're getting larger. Once again, I need to adjust my column. Kind of fun. I'd also highlight these guys. I want to make them bold. There we go, a little thicker. That's cool. Not good enough, though. So I'm going to highlight these again. We can change the color. Now they are red. Maybe temperature should be red, and let's make days into a bit of a cooler blue. How about that? Now I want my information to pop here a little bit. I want my days of the week. I'm not going to change the color of the font. Instead, here's a fun new word. I'm going to change the color of the fill. Think about our cells. Our cell, it's a box. What do we want to do? Fill up the box with a new color. In this case, these are our theme colors. It already is on yellow, and bam! So we have that looking lovely. And for our temperatures, I'm going to give them a fill color, one that's a little warmer to me. And let's go right there for it. So this is what I want you to do. Change the size of our font. If we get wacky, you can change how the font looks as well. Actually, we can go, that's one of my faves there. It ends up being a little bit bigger. And then I want you to change the fill for everything else that we have. Kind of fun. Let's give that a shot. All right, so let's take a little bit of experimentation, but let's take a look at it. So once again, we make sure that we have our information and what we want to change highlighted. And then you'll go up here. This is where you will change the font. And then underneath, I want you to sort of figure out, where do you change the color and the fill? Let's keep in mind, you cannot do anything wrong. So this is just practice. It's Excel. You can change them any color or not change them any color at all, and it's totally cool. This is absolutely just a chance for you to get familiar with these new skills. Have some fun with it. Let's go ahead and have at that. I'm going to count down from 5 before moving on to our next slide. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, we're getting pretty ambitious as we're going through. I want to talk about how we're seeing the data. Moving on, presenting our information, getting it so that people are interested, people are able to absorb the information. We are very visual creatures. Seeing things really helps. Now, the colors are nice, the organization is nice, but we can get even better. We now are going to endeavor to create a graph. And Excel makes it super crazy, awesome, easy. Let's use our super fantastic highlighting skill. Highlighting. Now, up at my ribbon here, I do not want to be home. I want to venture forth. We're going to go to Insert. Click on Insert. Moving down here, we have charts, charts and graphs. I'm going to go to this first guy here, these bars. And if I click on this, we want a 2D column, and bam! This is our information presented in a way that visually makes sense. We see on Monday, it was in the 80s, and we see Tuesday, Wednesday, we see how it got hotter and then it cooled off. So here we've taken information and we are able to present it in a way that is much more simple for an individual to absorb and see. We like to see pictures. That is who we are as a people. So I want you to do the same thing. Let's give that a try. All right, so let's take a look at it together. So we have our information. Your graph hopefully looks like mine with these different colors and the fills. What we will do first is click on Insert, and then that's going to give us a whole different ribbon. You must click on Insert first. After you've done that, you have these different options, and I want you to click on the 2D column right here and here. Do not worry if you're not quite sure where to click at first. We're giving you a general idea, and I want you to feel bold enough and empowered enough to start clicking on things. Let's make it happen. Explore what this is and how you can make it work for you. Now I'm going to count down from 5 before moving on to our final activity. We've gotten a ton done today, guys, and I'm digging it. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Moving on. More charts and graphs. The journey of Excel continues. Graph and charts, part 2, electric boogaloo. Here we go. So we're not worried about days and temperature anymore. Let's move on to something exciting. Let's move on to cake. Love some cake. Cake. All right, let's have some flavors here. Chocolate. And then vanilla flavor, always great. Let's go with earwax flavor. Strange, I know. Let's work with it. And then, if I can spell it correctly, strawberry. All right, so let's think. We own a wonderful cake shop. For chocolate cake, we sold 8 of them on this one day. We want to see how our business is doing. Vanilla cakes, big day, 15. Super awesome. And then strawberry cakes make a lot of sense. Strawberry cakes, we sold 6. Pretty cool. Earwax cakes, though, some weird person came in and ordered 4 of them. Really kind of weird. So we have our list. Let me make D a little wider here. We have our list. It's a chart. We can see the numbers. It's not bad, but it's not good enough either. This is not the sort of thing that we want to use the same type of graph. We could, if we go to Insert, and we can go to our bar graph. Let's see what happens there. So we see this is listed really pretty nicely. Really pretty nicely. There's a better one though. So let's get rid of this guy. So I'm going to highlight these, go back to Insert, and you'll see, and I should probably have a better way to highlight it here. There's one here, it looks like a big old pie, and that is understandably called a pie chart. If I click on this thing, 2D pie, bam! We see the illustration. So breaking it down, And I like to show the numbers here. So let's go ahead and do it this way. So we see the percentages, kind of a fun way. I think this is probably a little better. So we see this orange one here, that was strawberry, 18%. Our biggest seller at 46%, vanilla. Chocolate 24%, and then the weird mutant freaky people came in who wanted earwax flavored cake. They were 12%. Blah. So we can see that 46% of our customers like vanilla, 18% of our customers like strawberry, and 12% of our customers, well, they probably need professional medical help because they might be clinically insane. Let's do this, guys. Make a list. You don't have to use my crazy cake list. Make one as well, and I want you to make a pie chart. Let's have at it. All right, my friends, I'm going to hold us off right there. I'm not going to show you where we're clicking on the pie chart bit because I want you to try it on your own. I want you to go to insert and then make your way across. If you need to, rewind, no worries at all, but I want you to take a stab at just experimenting with where it is and letting your muscle memory sort of take over. This has been awesome. You guys rock. I look forward to seeing you face to face soon, soon, soon. Keep it up, everybody.